Hello, Blazers. Welcome to episode 97 of UAB Green and Told, original debut Monday, May 8th, 2023. Through this podcast, we're given the chance to share stories from members of the UAB community. Want to listen to previous episodes? We can be found at alumni.uab.edu/greenandtold on Spotify or the Apple Podcast app. And while there, leave a written review so more alums can find us. I'm Greg Berry, a UAB alum and Director of Communications in the Office of Alumni Affairs. For Potterheads, they're well aware that May 2nd is International Harry Potter Day. Armed with round glasses, knobbly knees, and a lightning bolt scar, the young wizard has captured the hearts of people around the world, including here at UAB. Today's podcast guests, Dr. Barbara Wech and Annetta Dolowitz, have discovered how to use Harry and his friends in the classroom, having created a course in the Class School of Business on leadership.
And they get so into it, and it doesn't take them very long before they realize, like, oh my God, I can understand this. I can understand this theory because it makes so much sense in this world that I'm familiar with.
Their students have to be Harry Potter fans, whether it's from flipping through the pages of J.K. Rowling's books or what they've seen on the big screen. And as they'll share, there are differences between the two.
I tell students often about Ron being isn't the dweeb that the movies make him out to be. And Harry isn't the nice guy that the movies tend to, paint him as being.
Harry's world may not be the last of leadership classes taught in unique ways. Dr. Wech and Annetta have begun kicking around a course that jumps into the Marvel universe, utilizing heroes like Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and the Black Panther as discussion points.
All of them display horrid leadership skills or really good leadership skills, right?
From the courage and loyalty of Harry Potter and his friends to the dark ambition of Voldemort, the Potterverse offers characters and plot lines that uncover timeless lessons of leadership. Dr. Barbara Wech and Annetta Dolowitz have both become Potterheads as fans of the popular series. While their passion for Harry Potter has brought him into the classroom, the course's origins can be traced to their first encounter with the wizarding world he belongs in.
A friend of ours who was living in Arizona said, "Oh my God, you've got to read this series." And Barbara and I are like, "What? What series?" And so it wasn't until we saw the movie, the first movie when it came out. So God, Harry Potter had been out in England and the United States easily for 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, easily been out. And all of a sudden Barbara like, "Oh, this is what she's talking about. Oh, maybe we should." And so all of a sudden we couldn't put the books down. But for me, I love audiobooks. And so if you haven't read the series or had the series read to you, Jim Dow. So Greg, given the secret you gave us, you need to have the books read to you. Jim Dow actually has won a Guinness Book of World Records for the most unique voices in this series. And he narrates all of it. And it's fantastic to listen to. And so for prepping our class, I'm the one who pays attention to the books because I just listen to them on Audible. Barbara goes back to the movie series, so she's really versed in the movie series. I'm more versed in the books. So when it comes to class, we get to tease the students because, of course, the directors had to make, especially as the series goes on and the books get thicker, they had to make decisions. And so I tell students often about Ron being isn't the dweeb that the movies make him out to be. And Harry isn't the nice guy that the movies tend to, paint him as being. And so I'm like, well, would it change your opinion if you knew that the book actually says? And so we have them really explore and take away from what the movie Hollywood makes, or in this case, Warner Brothers makes, and what was written by the author. And so we have them analyze those things that way.
Basically, you brought Hogwarts, in a way, to UAB. What was kind of the process and thinking in making a course around Harry Potter, his friends, and this magical world?
My chair at the time, Molly Wasco, who's now Associate Dean, this has been years back, and she said, she charged the faculty in the department and said, "Hey, think of something that we can offer students that is unique, gives them a great education, plays to things that would interest them." So I thought at the time about Harry Potter and management, that I could teach any topic in management with the Harry Potter books. So that kind of came and went, nothing happened with it. And then, one semester, I looked at my schedule and I was missing a course. So I think I was scheduled to teach 2 classes. We were supposed to teach 3. So there was a missing course. So Molly at the time said, well, do you want to teach whatever it was that already existed? And I would just, essentially run it. Or do you want to try something different? And so at that point, the Harry Potter management came up and Molly suggested, well, why don't you connect it with leadership, since that's really what the business school is about, is leadership. Our honors program is about, focusing on leadership. So it came the opportunity to fill a course. So we went with Harry Potter and connecting it with leadership. And, I got Annetta involved because I know Annetta loves the books and she's really excellent at making those connections between the books and business, and her interest in team-based learning just all came together and clicked really well.
But it made perfect sense. You have 4 houses, so you have 4 teams. And of course, the students who are knowledgeable are like, oh, I get to sort myself in my own house. And we're like, no, the sorting hat sorts you. And so they literally get sorted. And the first year we taught, it was hysterical. Everybody hated Hufflepuff. Everybody. They're like, we don't want Hufflepuff as an option. So we removed Hufflepuff. The next year they tried it again. And so we said, I'll tell you what, you get to draw from the hat again. And you get whoever the hat gives you. They got Hufflepuff again. And we said, apparently you are Hufflepuff. And so, it's been fun to watch Hufflepuff always get picked on for whatever reason. But the last couple of years that we taught, people were really excited about being sorted into Hufflepuff. And I think Fantastic Beasts helped with that, quite honestly.
The first time that this course was offered, I'm guessing that it sold out. Basically, everybody enrolled in it as soon as they could, and you had no more seats available. Was that the case, or did it take a little bit to catch on?
No, one of the issues I think we run in at UAB is, how do you get the word out? Well, I'm a faculty member. That's not my bailiwick. I don't know how to, unless I'm walking through every building on campus with a sign on my back that says, hey, we're offering, Harry Potter in the business school with leadership. I don't know how you get the word out. So the word gets out in the business school, but even there, it's not, 100% of the people that know.
And we aren't the first to do a Harry Potter class at UAB. English offered the first one, and she was brilliant with us. And as soon as Barb saw it, she's like, no, we've got to do this, with it. We've got to move forward with it. And so it would be interesting to find out what her experience has been trying to fill it because of this communication issue that seems to happen.
You're in the business school. It's going to be business centric, but do you see kids from across the entire campus from different schools enrolling in this course and learning things about leadership?
We've had people different areas across the campus, but again,
medical, psychology, business.
They don't know that it's don't know that it's here.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they don't know that, there's no prereqs to get in. So it's not like you have to be a business major or a business minor. It's not like you had to have a business course or a management course to get in the class. My objective was to use this class to expose everybody to, leadership,
major
leadership, and having it connect to a world where everybody could relate to, and, they could get excited about it. But again, it's, I don't know how we get the word out.
Do you think the vast majority of students that are in this class are Harry Potter fans, or do you get a mix?
No, they have to be Harry Potter fans, because the expectation is they either have to be familiar with the books and or the movies. Unlike the English course that was offered, they came in, read the books, so you're sort of from square one. We don't have the luxury of, you read the books during the semester and we do this. I suppose we could pull that off. But there's so many, like you said, your kids are into it. There are so many people that have read these books, young people. So they get to college, they're familiar with it. Are they Harry Potter experts? Not necessarily. Some of them definitely are.
Oh yeah, some of them know it way better than we do.
But yeah, they come into the class, they have to have an understanding of the Harry Potter world, either via the books, via the movies, or both.
Now, we had one student who simply wanted the course, and she wasn't familiar. And we had a phenomenal time. She turned out to be one of our best students. We gave her the Cliff Notes that she needed to go through, and she started watching the movies. I mean, she got hooked. She loved it so much. So we learned that if you're willing as a student, if you want this class enough and you're willing to do the Cliff Notes with it and the study guide that Barbara had, that it ended up, we went, okay, we're good with this. We'd be willing to let someone else in the class who's willing to do that. And we people are, oh, cool, it's a blow off class. I get to read the books. And the first thing we say is no. If you're here because you think you're going to watch the movies and you're going to be reading the books, you need to go talk to your advisor.
With all the characters in Harry Potter, which is the one that is focused on perhaps the most?
So what we do is we handicap them.
Okay.
And the reason for handicapping them is so that they learn the nuances of the leadership. That's what's important to us, is that you learn the nuances of each of these leadership theories and the characteristics that you're looking for. So they only get to use Harry and Dumbledore a couple of times. We'll even handicap them with Voldemort and say, no, you're not allowed to, those three are out. So you've got to go through and really look at it. And so there are so many characters. We have a cheat sheet for them. So all the characters, their descriptions, so that they can remember who all the characters are. So the answer is we don't let the big three get talked about often. We're a little bit more relaxed about Hermione and Ron a lot of the time, but we've got collaborative leadership in there and collective leadership. And in that instance, you need to be able to talk about Ron, Harry, and Hermione, and Dumbledore's army or the Death Eaters. And so in those instances, it is appropriate to bring up major characters and explore how that leadership style is displayed through their actions.
You guys sent me a project proposal, Harry Potter Academic Conference Mission. Talk a little bit about that and what you're hoping to facilitate with this service learning project.
So in my nonprofit entrepreneurship course that I'm teaching this semester, I at the Service Learning Project has always worked with a nonprofit partner. And it just so happens that the Harry Potter Academic Conference is is a nonprofit within a nonprofit school, Chestnut Hill College. And so what's cool about this project, I promise I'll go back, is that we're coordinating with 3 colleges. We're coordinating with our class at UAB. We're coordinating with folks from Chestnut Hill up in Pennsylvania. And we're coordinating with people from Chapman University, one of their students who created a project, and her professor as an option for the students to further develop and explore making this into a product or revenue source for the Harry Potter Academic Conference, so that they can continue to be sustainable as a conference. And so it's a wicked brainchild of mine, and we may continue it through the leadership portion as well in the fall, given that the class takes our Harry Potter leadership. And so the mission, vision, and values is, you had 2 professors go, hey, let's create this conference years ago, because we're going into our 12th years ago, and they've been funding it, they've been organizing it, and they're overwhelmed. And so when we went in, probably around the 6th or 7th years when we started getting involved with the Harry Potter Conference, so around 2017, and we're like, what can we do to help? And it took them a year to allow us to help. And then this past year, because of everything that's been going on in the community, I mean, from COVID to, obviously, people are familiar with the Twitter gate that's been going on with Rowling. The community has had a lot of responses, right? And so we've been addressing this. But what's interesting about this academic conference is that when it was first formed, people wouldn't take it seriously, right? Oh, come on, it's Harry Potter. What do you mean you're going to create an academic conference? You're full of it. So they made it as academic as they could.
Yeah.
But it's also a nonprofit. And so when you look at academic conferences such as AOM, Academy of Management, or you look at my association, which is the Association for Educational Communications and Technology, they have clearly stated mission, vision, and value statements. Well, the Harry Potter conference didn't, because you're dealing with a philosophy teacher or a religion teacher, and you're dealing with a chemistry teacher. They're not familiar with nonprofits. I mean, they work for a nonprofit, but that doesn't mean you understand the organization of a nonprofit. And so what we're helping them do is now formalize it and make it apparent on their webpage, which is how you're introduced to this. This is who we stand. And it becomes really important in today's political world, today's academic world, today's post-COVID world, of making that clear, because COVID benefited us. We were able to do and invite people globally to the conference because it had to be online. And so what we're trying to do is continue to build an infrastructure and the sustainability of a hybrid conference. So people who can't travel there for a variety of reasons, which does come down to money at a lot of times. You know, it's $15 to get into the conference. That's not a heavy lift, but traveling to Pennsylvania is a heavy lift. And the food and, so those things are going to be more of a heavy lift than being able to sign into a Zoom. So if we can get the sustainability, all of a sudden we can build an infrastructure that they can go back to from year to year to allow this to continue to be a global conference. And so my class is exploring, how can we make this more sustainable so that Patrick and Karen are not funding it all themselves? And so they have a very committed 125 or so people who come back, which we are part of, regardless of the fact that we're on the board. We go back because it's our people's, we've got a community there.
Have you seen the popularity from the students kind of ebb and flow a little bit? Or has it been really die hard as they come in?
It ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really hard for us is when we have diehard fans, and then you've got a group of, well, I'm just taking it. That makes it hard, because we've had classes where they'll bring in their toys, they'll wear the robes, they'll bring in their wands, they'll bring in their Harry Potter stuff. And that makes it fun for us, because we go to class in our robes. Barbara decided to get her doctoral robes, because I looked at her and said, you get to go to class every day in your robes for Harry Potter. So she'll wear her regalia, her actual regalia for it. And when I get my regalia, I hope to be wearing my regalia in for our class to teach it in. But the first year we taught it, because Barbara was the teacher and lead, I was Dobby, the course elf, and not the house elf. I was the course elf. And so I have Dobby ears. Barbara surprised me one year and she got me crocheted Dobby ears. And one year, because the students are required to film as one of their assignments, somebody borrowed my Dobby ears. So, students have a blast with it too. And so it's a lot of fun for us, but we do a review of the leadership that we've taught them, just to make sure that they've learned something, not just had fun.
At the end of the course, like the first time we taught it, we just kind of did a pop quiz at the end of the semester, and they remembered everything from, at the start of the semester all the way through, talking leadership theories and understanding them and remembering them.
Yeah.
Which is pretty darn exciting.
Did you ever think you'd enjoy that kind of success, where you see the students really have things soak in and then use it potentially in everyday life as business leaders?
It's what you want.
It's definitely what you want.
It's what you want.
But yeah, it was pretty exciting to see it. And it's exciting to see students get excited about it, because I think they're sort of, they're unsure what this is going to be, what's it's going to be about, what's it's going to look like. And as the class starts rolling and they just start getting into discussions, they're in their teams, their houses, and they discuss different questions and stuff that we've asked them. But then they, start having these conversations across groups, and they get so into it, and it doesn't take them very long before they realize, like, oh my God, I can understand this. I can understand this theory because it makes so much sense in this world that I'm familiar with. And it's like, and you can see the lights go off. You can see them get excited about it. And it's exciting as a faculty member to watch that happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for us.
Thinking of literary world, thinking of the film world, are there any other series that you could point to and go, you know what, that would make a great course for leadership?
Absolutely, hands down. We've talked about reformatting and presenting this back to the School of Business to the faculty for approval of a little bit of a tweak, an update. Both Barbara and I happen to love Marvel and DC, particularly Marvel. And so we wouldn't have a problem if a team were the Avengers and the team were the X-Men, and we would be fine with that, because it's all about leadership development, right? All of them display horrid leadership skills or really good leadership skills, right? If we tweak this, we would go ahead and say, okay, who are the characters? And this is who our team, but we can have fun drawing back and forth with their familiarity of the questions that we do. Part of team-based learning is a very important skill is facilitation, and taking students' answers and having them explain them and finding out, does it sway another team? Or how would this character see it in the leadership? And we could easily do that between teams who are Marvel versus, or maybe not versus, Hogwarts,
because
but
in a course like that, you would obviously get a variety of people who were into different things, and then you could ask more generic type of questions that might not say, well, what do you think Superman, would do, blah blah blah, but you would ask something more generic where these pockets of students who are into various things would come up with the characters that would who fits this leadership theory,
and an example of
it. And they will do all that analysis themselves. It's fun, and that's what's really cool about it.
Because we come up with the answers. We'll sit here and we'll have the answers.
We have our own discussion while they're doing their discussion.
So we're discussing our answers, and you would think we would have the same answer from year to year, and we don't. We change.
Really?
And the students' answers, and this is the beauty of the team-based learning, the team-based learning style, where the teams come up with an answer, because yes, we're experts, but collectively, we're not going to be out-experting you necessarily. You may come up with such good, and it does happen.
Yeah, they do.
It constantly happens. You come up with such good reasoning. I step back and go, well, I hadn't, wow. And because I gamify my classes, right? They're Hogwarts, right? They get house points. So all of a sudden, they're competing house-wise and the points and stuff. And the most exciting thing, and we don't know how to replicate it. All we can say is if anybody decides to do this, create courses like this, write down what gets them. Like, for instance, we decided to add women in leadership into the course. And Barbara looked at me, she goes, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have this discussion. This is going to fail. And without fail, it is, and they say this, it is one of their favorite sessions to have, and it drives her nuts. I've introduced other types of exercises in there, and she's like, I don't like this. This is going to suck. They're not going to like it. And they always blow her away, because when you give it to the creativity of the team, they just go with it and their knowledge and passion about the material.
Which house at Hogwarts do you gravitate to?
I think I was sorted into Gryffindor.
Yeah, but who are you really? I think you're a cross. Ravenclaw or Slytherin?
No, Ravenclaw.
Yeah,
I'm a cross, I guess, between Ravenclaw and Gryffindor. But
she has very Slytherin tendencies.
She's Hufflepuff.
I'm a Huffleclaw. So Pottermore put me in Ravenclaw, and I looked at Barbara, and my jaw was on the table. I'm like, how in the hell did I get sorted into Ravenclaw? I'm not that smart. I see you being in Ravenclaw. But anybody who knows me, I am a Hufflepuff. I mean, I play in the garden. I experiment with stuff I'm totally loyal to a fault. I'm so a Hufflepuff, but apparently Pottermore saw me as someone smart. Not that my Hufflepuffs aren't smart. They're smart.
That's Barbara Wech and Annetta Dolowitz. Dr. Wech is an associate professor in the Class School of Business and director of the school's honors program. Annetta serves as an adjunct professor within the Collat School of Business. Both serve on the Harry Potter Academic Conference Editorial Board. As longtime members of the UAB community, this duo definitely has a great idea of what it means to be a Blazer.
I think for me, It really is the appreciation of where our students come from and what they're trying to achieve with their lives, and having the honor, and I mean it sincerely, having the honor to be of service to them to help facilitate those goals.
I guess it goes back to the original reason I took the job at UAB. As I said, I'm a first generation college student, and it appealed to me that UAB is essentially kind of like where I went undergrad, which was Wayne State in Detroit. It's heavily first generation college student, and I wanted to be in that kind of environment. So I enjoy our first generation students. I enjoy our international students, which come from a broad background, many of them fairly privileged from wherever they are, but a lot of them not. A lot of them have gone through challenges and life experiences that I just can't even fathom. And for them to end up here at UAB and everybody coming together, this unique, diverse group of students who come together and learn from each other, and
it's an honor to be a part of it.
And we learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's the environment that I wanted to be in, and that's, I guess, what being a Blazer means to me.
Be sure to check out past episodes of the UAB Green and Told podcast. Listen in at alumni.uab.edu/Green and Told. Have a story to share or know someone who does? Email greenandtold@uab.edu. Finally, be sure to follow us on social media. Just search UAB Alumni on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for listening, and until next time, go Blazers.